Okay, I'm gonna make this video especially for you, Benthy Cookie. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but you know who you are. Anyway, I think we're starting to have a half decent discussion here. I thought I'd make a video especially for you because I'm sort of struggling for time. I got rained off work today. I'm looking after my son. He's been a little bit of a handful, you might say. So I thought I'd make a quick video and just address a couple of your last comments. Just in regard to that comment I made about holding your soul. It was a question, actually. It wasn't really a comment. It wasn't something I was referring to myself or anything like that. I was saying, well, I don't even know what context I was saying it to someone in, but that comment, or that question, have you ever held your dead baby in your arms that died and that had vaccines the day before or in the last 48 hours or whatever, you know, that sort of time frame, the day before. And I ask that because, not because that happened to me, but I have held a baby that we lost. He was born, well, we lost him about 20 weeks. He was had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck about 3 or 4 times. So yeah, we lost our first boy. So I held my dead baby in my arms, but it wasn't vaccines. It was just a freak accident, the umbilical cord. But more so, what I was referring to in that question was my auntie, who was interesting. Well, we always knew that we had a cousin, Brett, that was born probably 8 years, 10 years before I was. So in the 70s. So, you know, this is a long time ago, before they gave vaccines, like you said, at 2 months and 4 months and 6 months and on the day of birth and in the second or third trimester, as they do, like I said, they gave us the pertussis vaccine midway through. So he was exposed to vaccines before he was born. But yeah, so back then we had a cousin and he died of SIDS. And it got spoken about a lot. But there was one thing that never got mentioned about that until we had the autistic son years and years later. And I was talking to my mum about it, and this is after months and months of researching it. And I'd come across this video on YouTube one day, and it was Robert De Niro talking about it. And my mum was a bit of a Robert De Niro fan. So I thought it'd be a good segue into sort of telling mum about it, just saying, listen, you know, maybe vaccines aren't so good, so, you know, maybe we need to reassess how we deal with that as a family. And so I was talking to her about it. I showed her the video, and it was sort of mentioned that a lot of people reported SIDS the day after a vaccine, but it doesn't really get investigated much. They just put it down as SIDS, like we're not sure why your baby died, but it wasn't the vaccines. And I guess in 1970 something, a grieving mother just accepts that. Everyone just accepts it. Maybe some people think it's a little bit odd, but when the doctor says, no, you know, it's okay, it wasn't the vaccines, I guess everyone just sort of says, oh yeah, no, fair enough, doctor knows their stuff. But did they know their stuff? So anyway, when I was talking to mum, telling mum about it, and I said, and all that sort of come up, she sort of looked at me like she was watching, and then she just sort of looked at me like with this really fucking eerie look on her face. And she's like, you know, it's funny that, you know, your cousin Brett that died of SIDS. And I said, yeah. And she said, he'd been vaccinated the day before. And I was like, you're fucking kidding. And I said, what did they say about that? And she said, oh, they said it wasn't related, you know, it was that. And I said, well, what was it then? SIDS? We're not sure. It wasn't that, but we're not sure. Like, how can you say it wasn't that if you're not sure what it was? Like, that's Like, fair enough, you might be able to eliminate it, but I don't think they would have been able to do that in the 1970s. I think that they've just assumed. I think they've made an assumption there, like a lot of people tend to make assumptions. And so, yeah, you're right. It's not common for SIDS to occur while they're in a mother's arms. And that's not what happened to my auntie. Her baby died, and then she picked him up out of the crib and she held what was supposed to be a perfectly healthy baby that had died. She was holding him in her arms, and it was within, say, 30 hours of being vaccinated. And no one could tell her why. And then I get on Facebook 40 years later and hear hundreds of other people state similar sort of things. And you think, oh yeah, people lie, but why would so many people lie about something like that and go into such detail and express such emotion? Like, what sort of sociopath would do that? Like, I know those people are out there, but I just don't understand how it could be everyone. So that's, yeah, I just wanted to quickly address my cousin Brett and just what happened there, and just that comment and your comment, and just how you've sort of misinterpreted me a little bit on a lot of comments, but there's that one I wanted to address in particular, obviously, because it is fairly personal, and yeah, it is easy to misinterpret people over like a comment section because you can't really see facial expressions. You can't sort of look into a person's eyes. I guess it might be hard here too. Where's the camera? Alright, my time's up.